Wes Flinn, part of the Eugene I Group Men at Work. I went through my weekend in fall of 2017 at Camp Wairiki, and I found that sitting in a circle with a group of committed men to working on their missions has been a blessing, a magnitude of which I'm unable to capture in words. All those men in MKP for being with me on this journey. This is the reading for the Willamette Valley Mankind Project February 2023 newsletter. The mission of MKP USA is to create a world where men act on their individual and collective responsibility for the future of humanity by initiating and supporting men on a path of emotional maturity, spiritual awareness, and deepening community. There is a series of ongoing discussions around appropriation entitled Truth, Reconciliation, and Trust, updates on evolving our relationship with Indigenous people and practices. In order to access that, you must be logged on to the mkpconnect.org to access those links and to see how that's going on. Got some inspiration for the month. And this is a quote by, J.R. Tolkien. Some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. It's the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay, small acts of kindness and love. There's a couple powerful videos. One is more of a, looks like a little bit of a child's video, reminded me of Robin Hood when I first saw it, but it's the horse, the fox, the mole, and the boy. And just like those words that are sometimes hard to say, they're so important, like love, help, and how we navigate that. And then there's also a video there by Dave Chappelle. When I first read the title, it said why 2% succeed and 98 don't. I didn't like that title so much, but he gives all this advice that's super powerful and was definitely worth a watch. So enjoy that. Upcoming events. We've got a welcome home coming up in March 18th, which is a Saturday at the Monroe Community Library. And the next welcome home will be that Saturday, March 18th, 3 to 6 p.m. at the Monroe Community Library, which is located in Monroe, Oregon, 380 North 5th Street. It will be a potluck. Please bring your own service plates, cups and utensils, beverage, and food to share. There will be an opportunity to stay afterwards if you would like to socialize more with your community. There will be playing cards available, but feel free to bring your own games to share. If you haven't been to a welcome home, I highly recommend it. Even if you weren't a staff there, certainly it's hugely powerful. And to me, being able to welcome men back into the community, the welcome home is really a powerful part of that. Also, there's a workshop coming up, a conversation with Resmaa Menakem on healing racialized trauma. The link is right there. That's happening Friday, February 10th from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's a free online event. And this is a quote. This is a letter shared by Max Frood. I'd like to bring to your attention this opportunity to participate in an online workshop with Resmaa Menakem, author of My Grandmother's Hands, and an expert in somatic healing of racialized trauma. I've received a lot of benefit from his writing and soaking. If you are wanting to go beyond simply recognizing systematic privilege and actually work on how it lives in your body, this will be a great introduction. Thank you so much, Max. And Max is part of the Intercultural Advocacy Chair at MKP, Southern California. Do you know of any community events coming up that you would like to share with our community and your community? Please email suggestions to that info at WVMKP.org, Willamette Valley MKP. There are some new warrior training adventures coming up in the Northwest in 2023. There's going to be four actually on the docket right now, March 10 through 12 at Camp Wairiki, July 7 through 9 at Gray Owl Hollow, and October 6 through 8 at Camp Wairiki, and also December 1 through 3 at Camp Wairiki as well. If you haven't gotten a chance to staff or MOS, highly recommend it. They still need men to step up for both of those options. And there's also a link to the registration right there. I know last year I was with a couple of my iGroup folks, and we did the MOS at Gray Owl Hollow. Phenomenal. And because that was such a tight and small community, it was really neat to see and interact so closely with the men who are also staffing it. So men are still needed for the March and WTA. So let's get a whole Willamette Valley team together for this MOS. And once again, if you're interested, the link is right there. Book of the month. This was shared by Rob English and the Eugene Open Men's Circle. Thank you so much, Rob. It's entitled No More Mr. Nice Guy. A proven plan for letting what you love or what you want in love, sex, and life by Robert Glover. And this is his review of it. It said, when I started on my journey of trying to understand myself, not much resonated with me until I read Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy. I found the subtitle a little off-putting in its triteness, which is a proven plan for getting what you want in love, sex, and life, and unneeded extra comma. But once I started reading, I felt known and understood. This was talking about me. I hadn't realized that I was desperately seeking approval and trying to get my needs met through hiding myself in covert contracts. This book helped me understand why I ended up in that paradigm and provided some tools for a different approach. I'm the only one responsible for my needs being met. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The only one responsible for my needs being met is me, and it is okay to ask for what I need. Working through the exercises in this book provided important steps in my becoming open and honest and really understanding how to live with integrity. I have since done a couple of online courses with Dr. Glover, and while his style sometimes doesn't sit well with me, his insight and understanding is always helpful. In fact, his stressing of the importance of joining a men's group led me to the Open Circle and then MKP. If you think you might be a nice guy, then I recommend reading this book. Again, Rob English from Open Men's Circle, thank you so much for that review. Some of the best advice I've been given, and here's another quote, don't take criticism from anyone you would never go to for advice. This one's from the communications team. Here are some questions that you might want to ask yourself. What more do you need from your iGroup? When was the last time you gave attention to your mission? Are you living your mission? Are you meeting with any of your iGroup members outside of iGroup? And are you in contact with your iGroup rep? So the iGroup rep guidelines can be found on page 11 of the iGroup toolkit, and there's a link right there that you can access it quickly and easily. Here's a happy reminder announcement. How was your 2022? Jim Drews recommends reviewing your year via the photos that you took. Our brains tend to focus on the negative impacts, but our egos tend to take pictures of positive moments. Doing this activity may help you change your perspective on how your 2022 went. It's important to acknowledge the downfalls of 2022, but equally as important to remember the greatness of the year. If you find a great picture that you would like to share, please share it with us so we can share your picture with our community. This next section is called Boost Your iGroup, Effective Listening. This is a list of recommended ways to listen effectively from FBI hostage negotiator Gary Nosner. While most of these are already in the IGFT curriculum, some of them aren't. Numbers 1, 3, and 4, which I'll read soon, were not there, and I think they make great additions. So thanks, Ken Schultz, for sharing that with us. And here they are. So number 1, use minimal encouragements. This means using brief phrases such as yes, okay, and I see to convey that you're listening attentively while an agitated individual is talking. It's hard to stay mad at someone who keeps nodding and saying, yep, yep, yep. Number 2, paraphrase. This exercise has done more to tamp down tensions in my relationships than anything else. Simply restate in your own words what you think the other person is saying. This is a very powerful tool to not just tell somebody, I understand you, but to demonstrate it. The beauty of paraphrasing is that you can't fake it. You must pay attention, at least in some way, to what the person is telling you in order to come up with and share your interpretation. I've used this often myself, and it's a powerful tool, especially in tense situations. Number 3, try labeling. Seek to identify how the person you are talking to or sparring with is feeling by starting with a phrase like, you seem as if, or you sound as though. For example, you seem as if you're upset that I asked if you're still single. If you're right, the person will agree. If you're off the mark, they will correct you. Either way, you are suddenly on the same page and working towards the same goal of clarifying the person's thoughts. Number 4, start mirroring. This tool is the easiest of all to use. When someone's upset, wait until they're done venting and merely repeat the last words of their message. Say they finish with, and I'm annoyed. For example, mirror this with, and you're annoyed. Using the person's own words creates an atmosphere of familiarity, making the person feel more secure, which can lead then to bonding. Number 5, ask open-ended questions. Asking a question that produces a yes or no doesn't move you any closer towards a resolution. Are you mad at that, Grandpa? Are you mad that Grandpa made a crack about your outfit? Yes. An open-ended question invites conversation and makes people relax. Think of how much, here's the quote, think of how much friendlier it is for someone to hear, I didn't understand what you just said. Could you help me out by explaining it further? Or I'd really like to know what you mean. What did I get wrong in this? Can you tell me more about it? Asking an open-ended question, he said, also allows the other person to collect themselves and sort out their swirling thoughts and emotions. Number 6, use I messages. This classic method of communication, using statements that begin with I rather than you, builds rapport by personalizing the negotiator. Starting with you can make a person defensive or angry. So instead of saying, you need to stop yelling at me, you'd say, I feel frustrated when you are yelling at me because I'm trying to fully understand what you're saying. You're kind of putting it on your own shoulders, but still letting the person know what problems his behavior is causing. Number 7, allow for effective pauses. When subjects engage in highly charged emotional outbursts, it can be helpful to stay silent for a beat or two. When people fail to get a response, they often calm down to verify that the negotiators are still listening. Eventually, even the most overwrought people will find it difficult to sustain a one-sided argument and will return to meaningful dialogue. Nossner cautioned that the FBI's 7 tips don't offer guaranteed success, but if you're going to be successful in getting Uncle Charlie to behave himself, it's probably going to be through that way rather than attacking, belittling, marginalizing, or ignoring him. He said, during Nossner's 30 years at the FBI, one aspect of human nature remained constant. He added, people just want to be acknowledged. When people would surrender in life or death situations, such as a hijacking, he said, the FBI would try to find out what they did right. And we'd ask, what did we say that made you come out? And the answer was always the same. I don't remember what you said, but I liked the way you said it. Powerful ways when we're communicating both with each other and with other people. So thank you for that. There's a great section on humor. I don't know if you've been in the internet at all, but these guys' dad jokes, they sit around at the edge of water or somewhere else. And to me, it feels like they're just trying to make each other laugh, being deadpan and using kind of dad jokes. So I think there's they also have the writing right there so you can really see when they're making a pun, but it's definitely well worth it. And there's a couple other jokes there. And so enjoy that humor. If you're looking for a growth opportunity, MKP has a number of training opportunities, and a sampling is below. To see the entire list, there's a link right there that you just click. But some of the ones coming up in February and April, there's one on February 12th that is says Introduction to Conflict Resolution. There's one on February 20th that is around waking up to whiteness. And then there's another one that's entitled in April 5th called Unpacking. And it's hard for me to see the byline underneath that. Another announcement, Northwest Women's Personal Growth Groups are happening. There's a HER weekend, a weekend of transformation for women with some links right there. And the next in-person HER weekend training is coming up March 10th through 12th at Mentone, California. And there's a quote that goes along with it. One of the great privileges of my life is being invited to staff the HER training to observe women being real with other women, being soft and hard as only women with other women can be, being playful with each other, and to see men and women relate honestly with each other. It's an experience that I will never forget. The effect on me was as transformational as any training I've ever done. And I was on staff. The change in women attending was a delight to see. And that came from Bill Witch, co-founder of Next Step and Mystic Warrior Trainings, formerly certified leader in the Mankind Project. There's also a couple more references there. There's Inner Yoga Foundation, and there's a contact there, and you can click for more information. And there's also another one for Women Within Western USA with contacts and links if you're interested in that. There's also Suicide Awareness, QPR training. QPR stands for Question, Persuade, Refer, suicide intervention, prevention training for MKP USA members. This is being used in a lot of schools throughout Oregon as well and nationally. Super easy, but it just raises the awareness around working with folks around questioning, persuading, and then referring. So to help folks stay safe. Links are right there. You can set up an account and MKP gifts paying member accounts to this website, and there's an organizational code right there that you can use. There's also Willamette Valley Open Men's Circle, which happens the first and third Mondays, 7 to 9 p.m. via Zoom. And there's a link right there with the password, so anyone can join. Please do so if you would like to. And then there's also Mankind Project USA is now running a weekly online open men's group on Tuesday nights. And to register, there's a registration for there. So there's lots of open men's group opportunities if you're interested. And that brings us to the end of the newsletter. So this is my first time doing this. I hope I didn't make too many mistakes or mispronounce people's names too badly. It's been my honor and privilege, and I hope you all have a wonderful month and look forward to seeing you around in the Northwest Valley. You guys take care.